It's funny how life has a way of balancing the scales, though sometimes the balancing act can take far longer than you'd hope. My name is Daniel, and until last year, I thought I had it all: a loving wife, a promising career, and a home filled with laughter and memories. But, as it turns out, the life I thought I was living was nothing but an illusion, a mirage that shattered spectacularly one crisp autumn afternoon. It started with the little things: the late night workouts, the increasing detachment, the dismissive "you're imagining things" every time I tried to bring it up. Stacey, my wife of 6 years, had started spending more and more time at the gym. I was proud of her at first. She wanted to get in shape and feel healthier. But then came the excuses, the secretive texts, the sudden need to work on herself at odd hours. Call it intuition or sheer paranoia, but I decided to investigate. The confirmation came one Friday evening when she claimed to be attending a friend's birthday dinner. I followed her, heart pounding, hoping I was wrong. But no, there she was, laughing and holding hands with him, her personal trainer, a smug, chiseled man named Ryan who looked like he'd stepped out of a cheap romance novel. My wife, my Stacey, kissed him in the dim glow of the restaurant's patio lights as if she hadn't just vowed, "till death do us part," a few years ago. When I confronted her later that night, the facade crumbled. She didn't deny it. In fact, she doubled down. "Daniel," she said, her voice annoyingly calm, "Ryan is my soulmate. I've felt more alive with him in a few months than I ever have with you." It hit like a freight train. The woman I'd planned a future with was leaving me for some steroid-fueled gym junkie. I didn't yell or beg. Instead, I simply said, "If that's how you feel, Stacey, then go." And she did. For a while, I was a wreck. Our friends and family, those who hadn't already taken sides, tried to comfort me. But no amount of sympathy could fix the gaping hole Stacey had left. Yet, as the months passed, I began to rebuild. I poured myself into my work, started working out myself, ironic, I know, and found solace in the friends who stuck by me. Meanwhile, Stacey's life with Ryan was tumultuous, to say the least. Word traveled fast in our small community. Ryan had a reputation, a string of broken relationships and questionable behavior. Stacey had traded stability for a fantasy, and the cracks in her perfect new life began to show almost immediately. Still, she clung to him, even as he drained her emotionally and financially. Then, one day, almost a year to the date she left, Stacey showed up at my door. She looked like a shadow of the vibrant woman I once knew. Her once glowing skin was pale, her eyes puffy from what must have been hours of crying. "Daniel," she whispered, "I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Please, can we talk?" I invited her in, not because I felt sorry for her, but because I wanted to hear her admit the truth. She told me everything: how Ryan had cheated on her multiple times, how he'd squandered her savings, how he'd verbally abused her until she barely recognized herself. Her soulmate had left her emotionally bankrupt and living out of a cheap apartment after she sold our house to pursue her happiness. "Daniel," she sobbed, "I was so blind. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. I'll do anything to fix this. Please, give us another chance." For a moment, I felt a pang of pity. But then I remembered all those nights I'd spent alone, drowning in my own heartbreak while she played house with another man. I had rebuilt my life brick by brick, while she had watched hers crumble. "You want another chance?" I asked, my voice steady. "After what you did to me?" She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I'll do anything, Daniel. Anything." This was the moment I'd been waiting for. I leaned forward, locking eyes with her. "Stacey," I said coldly, "the man you left me for isn't the reason you're miserable. You are. You made your choice. You burned every bridge between us, and now you want me to build them back. No, that's not how this works." Her face crumpled as the weight of my words sank in. I stood and walked to the door, holding it open for her. "Daniel, please," she begged, dropping to her knees. "I love you. I never stopped loving you." I laughed, not out of humor but disbelief. "Love, Stacey, love isn't just a word you throw around when you're desperate. Love is what I gave you every day for 6 years, and you threw it away like it meant nothing. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a life to live without you." As she stumbled out the door, sobbing, I felt a strange sense of closure. She had wanted a grand romantic escape, and she got exactly that, just not the happily ever after she'd envisioned. Meanwhile, I'd found peace, purpose, and, dare I say, happiness. Stacey's world had crumbled, and she had no one to blame but herself. Revenge is a dish best served cold, they say. But in my case, it wasn't revenge that brought satisfaction. It was the simple act of moving on, of proving to myself that I was worth more than the way she'd treated me. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free.